stags at night, the occasional glimpse of wolves silhouetted against a winter sky, the animals of Tatoy's home farm, where every creature was given a pet name, and summer picnics at Phaleron. Nor did time dim the princess's memories of outings to local villages, where residents in national costume ran towards the royal carriages bearing gifts of flowers or embroidery, or of her visits to Spetsi. Though she was never able to explain why, this, of all the Greek islands, forever remained Marina's favourite. Inevitably, travel became a prominent feature of the princess's life. To begin with, journeys took the form of holidays, either with her parents and sisters or with Foxy acting as nurse and guardian. Perhaps Marina's earliest journey abroad was that which took place in about 1908, when she, Olga, and Elizabeth were taken to Finland to stay with a close friend of Princess Nicholas at her house on the shores of the Gulf. Later, in 1910, Marina was taken to England for the first time. It was then, at the age of 3.5, that she was entertained to tea at Buckingham Palace and introduced to King George V and Queen Mary, who, almost a quarter of a century later, would become her parents-in-law. In 1910, the year of her husband's accession to the throne, Queen Mary's interest in Marina extended no further than that of a godmother meeting her goddaughter for the first time. During that holiday, Prince and Princess Nicholas also took their daughters to Sandringham in Norfolk to visit their great-aunt, the recently widowed Queen Alexandra. Justifiably described as Britain's most beautiful queen, Aunt Alex, as Prince Nicholas always knew her, had come to Britain from Denmark early in 1863 as the bride of the future King Edward VII, whose death after a 47-year marriage she now mourned. From Sandringham, during that first visit, Marina and her sisters were taken to Bognor. Foxy later recalled, "Their parents came to see them settled in there, and then HRH Princess Victoria, the second of King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra's 3 daughters, stayed for some time at the Norfolk Hotel, when she saw a lot of the 3 little girls, who helped her to bear the sad loss of King Edward, whom, unhappily, Princess Marina never saw." At Bognor, the princess and her sisters had a very happy time, and, like less exalted children, busied themselves in making castles and all sorts of fine things in the sand. They were often helped by Princess Victoria and their uncle, Prince Christopher of Greece, known as Christo, the youngest of Prince Nicholas's 3 brothers, who spent some time there. Holidays in more exotic locations followed. But in the years before the Revolution, none could quite equal the excitement of family visits to Russia, to Princess Nicholas's mother, Grand Duchess Vladimir, the Grand Duke himself had died in 1909, and to the family of Prince Nicholas's uncle, Grand Duke Konstantin Konstantinovich, the celebrated playwright and poet known by his initials K.R., at their palatial houses in St. Petersburg and Tsarskoye Selo. Though Marina's personal memories of time spent with her Romanov relations were apparently relatively few, her last visit took place in the summer of 1914, shortly before the outbreak of the First World War, and not long before her 8th birthday, images of people, places, and events were sketched in for her, if not by family reminiscences, then by the lessons of history itself. Among her most distinct memories, however, were the annual journeys she made aboard the imperial train with her parents and sisters. Put at their disposal to ferry them from Sebastopol to St. Petersburg every summer, and at the beginning and end of occasional winter visits as well, the train consisted of several carriages, each furnished to afford royal and imperial passengers the greatest possible comfort. The day saloons were richly upholstered, their floors covered with thick carpeting, while the sleeping quarters had proper beds covered with fine linens and eiderdowns of pure silk. Still greater opulence awaited the family at the Vladimir Palace. Florentine in concept, with rooms, it contained over 300, designed in a variety of styles.